but it's just... There's really no quantifying... Lol. Downtime versus not downtime, and just how much easier it makes casting. It's insane how much better it is to have game after game after game after game. But we might have a very quick game number 1 here. In the top left on Ephemeron, it is the red Zerg Armani. Bottom right, blue Zerg, it is Sortof going for the 12 pool. We'll see if that's a drone pool as well. Ephemeron actually has kind of a cheeky spot that Moog, for regular viewers of the channel, has pointed out, but it's actually in the reverse spots. It doesn't actually work so much, I think, from bottom right, top left. In the reverse, Sortof could have actually blocked out evolution chambers here. I think it's evolution, spine, or something like that. And you actually, like, you lock in the drones, and it's kind of stupid. It's a very memey thing that I can almost guarantee no pro would ever do, but it would have been funny if Sortof had.
Game paused.
Anywho. 12 pool might just be to go ahead and cancel that hatchery at the natural. I'm not sure. I'm guessing Armani did 16. Almost every Zerg build is a 16 hatch now. So that means the queens pop out pretty quickly.
Game resumed.
That is to say, they pop out at the same time as each other. Whereas he went for 17 hatch, it's not so much. And obviously the creep starts a little bit sooner, and there's a larva available at the hatchery a little bit sooner, like all that type of stuff. Oh, he is gonna drone pool. Oh, no. Okay, well, that's the way to do it. Ephemeron, actually, our middle map in terms of rush distance. 34 seconds, maybe? But who cares? Who cares about math? Oh my god, Armani really needs to see this. Oh my god. Okay, now he sees it. The Lings kind of flickered there for a second, but oof, even adding a drone here on the 20, is that really what he's gonna want to do? Oh, no. So the hatchery finishes, you will have more supply to work with. You gotta instantly start up some defenses. You gotta pull the drones into the pockets, and that's gonna happen exactly here, actually. Armani goes to the left pocket, which is definitely the better one. You see that there's 2 mineral patches protecting. The right pocket, actually, not very good on Ephemeron. Not very good at all. Killing eggs is not so ideal, but trying to surround the Lings pop up eggs is definitely ideal. Sort of trying to get a spine crawler up right now. Trying to make this work, but it doesn't... Well, actually, his drones went down faster, but he has so many more Lings here, and his spine crawler is also not being targeted. It's not being affected in this game. 15 drones have gone down. More Lings are on the way, but spine crawler is finished. The queen does as well, and Armani is in a ton of trouble here. And that is it. GG. Sortof with the very quick game number 1. It's always funny to see that 12 pool drone pool work, because in professional games, I want to say I actually don't I don't see it work that often. I really don't. But I'm glad that he did. Ooh. Almost ran the wrong lobby. That would have been embarrassing. Oh, yeah, I did just have the Foxer name up. I would have noticed in a normal ZVZ at a perfectly fine time, in my defense. Let's change that. You know? But the game was over before I noticed chat. Excuse me, I don't wanna talk that much, so I'm just gonna stare blankly at you guys. Games are starting to get interesting here. Someone named Quantel, a Polish player, it looks like. Very odd to see a European playing on the Korean server. Just defeated Jim Rising. Parting did 2-0 nice. So I'm gonna guess Creator versus Parting later down the road. But to be honest with you guys, the Koreans, when they finally got opponents, just murdered them. They just ran past them with a chainsaw and didn't even stop to think about the remorse. Kind of brutal. And now they're all waiting for their opponent. And Probe, who, well, he got to walk over, so he had a head start. Anywho, in the bottom right of Triton, we have Armani. In the top left, it is the Blue Zerg Sortof. What a hold. Wait, did I get that wrong? Didn't Sortof win? Armani didn't hold. Right? Oh my god, am I crazy? I might be. I actually haven't taken any, like medicine, so it's not like I'm, loopy. But, I mean, it is 1:30 in the morning. My Saturday's always very long. I actually sleep like an old person now. I didn't used to. You know, I used to wake up at noon, go to bed at 2 a.m., something along those lines. So still a solid 10 hours of sleep, y'all, but that was long ago. And then I started waking up at 10 a.m., which is more reasonable. And now for the last, 6-ish months, I'm waking up at 8 or 9. I actually wake up at 7:30. That's adult time. Not weird adult time. As in, that's when most professional adults would wake up. Very proud of myself. Armani went for the 20 Overlord this time instead of the... Wait, actually I'm not sure. Point is, he went for an Overlord that's faster than Sortof, so I didn't actually pay attention. Because that is one of the things that does differ how much you have to defend those early rushes, is what you do with the 20 supply, or 19 or 20 supply. But there's no early rush, so it doesn't ultimately matter. And they both are going to head towards a third base, and we will see most likely a Baneling Nest and a handful of Lings. So the regular ZVZ is on the way now. Anywho, this is way past my bedtime is what I was trying to say. But I wanted to do some casting. I will be away next week, so I wasn't able to do it then. And then I've been away the past 2 weekends in a place called Katowice, casting to thousands and tens of thousands of people online from Poland. Yeah. Really unfortunate with all the cancellations of events and organized parties and all that stuff. I say that because South by Southwest was just canceled, and I consider that a bit of a party. But you get my point. Conventions, even okay, sure, anime conventions being stalled, whatever. Who cares? You know, weebs. Am I right, guys? I was a weeb, so I can say that. But there's even professional summits. You know, all these tech nerds that no one ever hears about go to meetings and huge. Not conventions, conferences. That's what I'm thinking of, conferences. And that's also being canceled. That, I learned about that today because, I have people I know, obviously, that do some of that stuff. And that kind of just blew my mind, you know? 40 nerds talking about space and you can't get together because you might get the coronavirus. That actually blows my mind. It's not even that mass amount of people. It also hasn't really exploded in America yet, but I mean, it is on the precipice, I guess. Anyways, totally not important in this conversation. What's a lot more important is that there was a lack of lings being produced, so not really a huge test of each other's skill. They both go into +1. They both go into Lair Roach Warren. Armani did have kind of a cute little wall there, which might have been for something a bit more nefarious, but excuse me, but we know it wasn't. And Armani gets a nice scout into the main base. Okay, now I get the hiccups. That's perfect. Oh, good job. He only wants that queen. He's gonna get the queen. And maybe a couple links. Oh, going for the drones, actually. Oh, and then they're so easily target fired by those lings. Not a bad use of Armani's lings and veilings that are actually just like, they are useless as time goes on. Right? Those are just the defensive. If you make a lot of lings and banelings, then I have something to prepare for. And he used them pretty effectively. A queen, couple lings, 3 drones, not too shabby. And then does have to make a couple more units just because sort of has lings left over. But it's not really scary because his scout in the main base saw something very important. It was a lair being built, right? So he knows that most likely this is actually +1 missile, not melee. He knows that there's not going to be a hatchery based all in on the way. So kind of a net gain for him. I guess you could say you didn't have to build this many roaches, but it's not even that many, so. Just going to the next upgrade. So +2/1 is going to be on the way for both parties soon enough. Sort of a lot faster to overlord speed. Oh, no. Armani's already done. And Armani seems to be getting the better end of things economically. Dips down on the workers a little bit there, but the drones are still on the way. There we go. We can actually check because it's game heart. Yeah. Not like huge differences. Definitely not, but little bits here and there because he also has a faster 2/1. Not by a lot. Not by a lot at all, but it is faster. The one thing he does not have faster is that roach speed, but sort of is not in a position to really abuse it. Micro does matter, but if you're not really going to be tangoing with each other anytime soon, the roach speed differences don't make as much of a difference as... Well, +1 being 60 seconds faster. I've always thought so, but we do see that decision come with the pros. You know, they'll be like, nope, actually, roach speed's really important. Let's get that first. I'm talking about desperate scenarios. Obviously, you get everything at once if you can. Oh my god, look at the minimap right now. Oh my god. So many overlords, and they're all fast, and they're all on patrol. Stop it. You're freaking me out, man. I mean, Inedible Ink, Ziggy definitely reminds me to wake up, but anyways. Roach drops coming along, Tumbling Claws, and Burrow. So, I mean, this has gone away. Oh, that was actually Baneling drops, excuse me. But this is Roach drops over here. It used to be that if you saw an Overlord drop in ZVZ, it was someone being kind of cool. Now it seems to be literally the most standard thing. It's part of your build order at this point, especially in a game where nothing's really happened. I mean, we're actually still on both of them really just build orders, you know? No one's taken extreme damage or gone a completely different direction. But we do have a bigger supply for one person over the other. Thank you very much, Anonymous, for the 1,111 bits. Much appreciated. But yeah, the Roach drop, very standard. The Baneling drop, unfortunately, failed. That Roach drop might come back for later. We all know one of the toughest things about ZVZ when you do get to this Roach versus Roach thing is that defending is usually going to take more resources than attacking with that harassment. Especially as Tumbling Claws finishes up, it just, the burrowed Roaches regen so damn fast. So it can be very, very annoying. But that is something that Armani has in his favor here, sort of. Not getting to Burrow or Tumbling Claws, nor Hydralistan, really nothing right now. Is just looking to defend here as it's +2. Seconds away from finishing. But he's being attacked right here, right now, and that is a big, big difference. To have that +2 versus not having that +2. Also a decent concave there for Armani as they both split away from the Corrosive Biles, but Armani also is doing damage with the Tumbling Claws, with the drop on the main base, but he is absolutely stomping all over this main engagement, and that actually might just be good enough, because the Roaches over here were temporarily stalled out. They didn't really do a whole lot of damage. They did force Sortof to use resources that were desperately needed on the front to hold until his +2 was done. Unfortunately, he already lost the fight by the time +2 finished, and while he now has equal upgrades, Armani also got a hive started behind that. So he had all these upgrades. He had the better fight. He had the faster upgrade. And he also is going to have that better tech. Sort of actually commits to a +2 carapace, which, yeah, you'll definitely hear... You can ask the pros more about this, for sure. But that +2 is not nearly as important as 2-1, that's for sure, as the +2 attack. You'll never see carapace over attack. Unless you're doing, like, a baneling attack thingy. Anyways... but then even that +2 carapace is like, yeah, but I could have like hydras or mass baneling, or something, right? It's more gas intensive. It's actually, I think Armani's doing the better thing, but sort of is no slouch this game. I know his performance at IEM really wasn't that great. That's like very low point for him, so I even kind of feel bad talking about it, but he's like not a bad player at all, so there's got to be a reason he's going for that carapace. It is still an upgrade that affects battles, but you always see the preference on that +2, and then kind of whatever is your fancy afterwards, which Armani chooses going into the +3-2 only after he's already gotten Hive, Hydralisk, Lurker Den, and a Hydra upgrade. Sort of unable to get to this 4th base. I mean, he really is going to have to hope that his Roach Ravager army just holds super strong for longer. Take very, very efficient trades, and sometimes Ravagers can do that, but so far, not looking so hot. Armani pounces as soon as he sees weakness. Some Ravagers of Sortof were actually caught awkwardly in the front lines. There just doesn't seem to be enough here as he's not maxing out. The larva now being a problem, it looks like. Absolutely, that lack of 4th base, maybe missing some injects from earlier, something along those lines. Sort of cannot spend his bank. He's trying to. He's trying to get a hive right now. And catch up, especially to Lurkers, right? Because Lurkers would be the comeback tool. They don't help if you're at 10 roaches, 5 Lurkers will not help you. You will get overwhelmed, you'll get concued upon, you get corrosive piled down. But if you're on a 180 supply army and you add 5 Lurkers to that actually is huge. Because you have something to protect them. They kind of free fire from behind, right? And they have splash that can be very effective depending on the angle of attack. That's when it's really helpful and can make or break a difference. If you can get up to 10 plus Lurkers, then yeah, they can actually hold a line by themselves. That's really far off here, and Sortof just needs to worry about right here, right now holding, which, I mean, he might be able to do. He finally gets remaxed. That larva finally pops. He's trying to get more bases up, actually double expanding, but Armani is all over it. He's actually already caught the base up to the top right, and is once again taking a pretty convincing fight here. 2-2 has been done for Sortof for a little while, so he will have that upgrade lead. And Armani's not finding that same opportunity to move into the army like he did before, so Sortof will hold. But Armani's going to a 5th base while Sortof is finally getting his 4th back to mining. And unfortunately is not winning the resources lost like he might have hoped he would have been after a while. I mean, it's not been a long time since he's actually been in a situation where he could take the resources lost trade, but yeah, still being down. Losing 5,000 more resources, doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good when you're also down in the hatcheries. So that's where Armani is getting this gigantic bank from. But bank isn't something that will win you the game right here, right now, right? So theoretically, Sortof takes really good trades, gets up to his own Hydras, and he could start to just take those better resources, not worry so much about the huge bank that Armani has. But he actually takes a couple corrosive vials there. He's actually going to come around from the back on top of where was a couple burrowed lurkers, trying to take the best fight he possibly can, catching the Ravagers as well. Really not too bad. On the left side, it started to look a little bit hairy, but the right side Roaches really helped out. But can he still hold? Hydra's coming in here with 3-2 actually completed, by the way. Providing a very strong backbone to the Roach forces on the front line. Armani also just upping that supply, because of course his bank is bigger. He can remax. He can take even bad trades and still be kind of happy with that. Sortof really had to take amazing trades and then also just continue holding on by his fingernails as he tries to get to Viper Lurker, and that's exactly what he's doing. And that attempt to that's not gonna work. That attempt to come around was actually very good, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great enough, and with 2 or 3 Lurkers, whatever it was holding the line, that actually is not going to cut it. GG. Armani ties up the series 1-1. Gets the macro game. I like Cow and a pie. I was looking on the bright side. once we get in a game, I'm gonna be right back. I've learned from previous mistakes. I'm going to, sorry. Actually wait for the game to be started and fine. One too many times I've gone to the bathroom and they've quit the lobby because it was the wrong map or they didn't have the mod or something. And I come back to emptiness and just rage. I'm good. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I really like that. Terran is just the South. Just literally the South. Okay, no 12 pulls, please and thank you. Nice. All right then. Be right back. Let's watch someone else's camera. Alright. Anything happen? Nah, nothing happened. Of course it didn't. Once again, another macro ZVZ in the works here on Simulacrum. Simulacrum. Nailed it. Okay, so last map, Triton, actually one of our longer maps with the way it winds. They don't go for triangle patterns in ZDZ as we saw last game on that map. I don't think you do so on this map either. And by triangle patterns, we're talking about bases. We literally mean a triangle, right? So you can take this base as a triangle. Might help you against drops a little bit better because you can kind of position your army over here. Talking more about like Terran matches, of course. And then the non-triangle, vertical, go from here to over there, right? Take this triangle section, yeah, it defends against drops. It also pushes you forward to be more aggressive, is another key feature of it. But when it comes to ZVZ, things can change so quickly, right, with Lings, not only with how fast they are, but how explosive Banelings are, that you really don't see too many forward third bases. Occasionally it happens, like World of Sleepers used to have a, well, no, it still does, actually. Yeah, World of Sleepers is the map that I was thinking of. Like, you would do a quote-unquote triangle expansion, but it is World of Sleepers. I don't know why I'm second-guessing myself. Like, I'm like quadruple guessing myself right now. But yeah, even that's kind of fallen off, yeah? Plus, people don't like, they don't really want to choose World of Sleepers at any race at this point. I mean, here we are, game number 3, no World of Sleepers, all Zerg, all day. Hells yeah. Actually, we do have a decent number of really good Terrans. Cure and Dream signing up instantly just upped the quality of, and Special actually as well, right? Up the quality of, you know, well, the race diversity. Yeah, some previous cups have been mostly Protoss dominated, actually. Armani goes for a hell of a lot of lings right there, and this is exactly the type of thing you have to worry about in this matchup, because all of a sudden, 20 lings can be on the way. So you want to have 2 banelings defensively automatically in case this happens, and you want to add more as they commit more or not. If you can actually hold just 2 banelings and a couple of queens, then that is the ideal situation. But that's a very ideal situation. So Sortof also has to be paying attention to his overlords on the other side of the map to make sure he doesn't actually underestimate this. Unfortunately, he's not underestimating. He is droning. He has taken economical damage when he really should not have. Those queens guarding the third and nothing guarding the natural means that a baneling slipped in and Ling's target fired once again, or something along those lines happened. Armani being very cheeky there. I'm going to use cheeky a lot because someone mentioned it, and now I'm just going to use it a ton. Gets 6 drones, and Sortof is going to find it difficult to return the damage, as Armani has already built his number of lings and banelings. It is that weird thing that happens, though, where, like, you have the units, they're very fast, you use the units, they have to respond with similar units, and then they have units that they now need to use, and then you do the same thing, and so on and so forth. And it really is who can get by with less and who can read the situation better. Sometimes, even when it looks like it's better for one person, like straight up Armani got more drone kills, it actually doesn't end up being such a big difference as you would expect. I mean, there is a difference, for sure. Even though the workers look the same, we do see other things happening. Armani has got his lair, he's got that +1 missile, a little bit faster than what would have been +1 missile, perhaps, of Sortof, but it's actually Carapace. So it's Carapace, hatchery-based, all in here. Lings will benefit from this. Banelings and roaches all benefit from +1 Carapace. Queens do as well, I guess. They're going to come across the map. But the point is that hatchery-based, all in, with a little more oomph can be very helpful. We do generally see this without that +1 Carapace, but yeah. It looks like Armani has perhaps caught on to this, seeing the lack of gas at the third base, maybe. He does have his 5th ready and going. Maybe the lack of drones, as I don't think he got into the main base recently, but also if he saw a lack of lair, that is very, very concerning. He was already building 1 spine crawler when I started talking about his reaction, now building 4, as the army does move over the Overlord's path. He is taking this very, very seriously. If he loses this, he's out of the tournament after all. It's tied to series, so ditto for Sortof, really wants this to work. Gonna push up the ramp and the natural where the spine crawlers are not. A couple of lings come in and kill a couple of drones, but he needs more than that. He's delayed his hatchery or his lair for a very long time. Banelings sliding into as many roaches as possible. Corrosive Bile is not really hitting very much there for Sortof, but no Corrosive Bile is coming in from Armani. Didn't have time to make Ravagers, didn't have the resource to make Ravagers. Spine crawlers starting to move forward, though, and don't forget there's 4 of them, so it's unlikely that Sortof would have actually been able to target fire every single one, especially if they're not all clumped up, which they were not. Thank you very much for that dono. Elagos, $11, no message. Much appreciated. Oh, maybe the message in the chat. I want to be happy in this life. Maybe produce one in, like, the next. Oh, no. Elagos is like, in the previous life, I was a frying pan. In the next life, I'm going to be a cockroach. I gotta plan this one pretty well, you know? I get that. Sortof finding that he is not going to be able to break Armani is backed off and is going to try and macro out of this. A difficult feat. That lair access. I talked about this in the last game, that roach speed and how sometimes it doesn't seem as important, right? Like if you had a choice between 100 going into an upgrade or roach speed, would you really want roach speed? Generally, the answer is no, you'd put it into the +1 and then get roach speed a little bit later, but not always. And if we are talking about a situation like this, when we're talking about just like a comeback type deal, that roach speed does give you more microability, more control over the map, and the ability to actually poke and prod and test your opponent. You know, they're not kind of fronting and being like, yeah, what up? You know, I can meet you in the middle of the map and kind of misinforming you if they don't have roach speed, because you're just going to tackle them and kill them and they can't escape. So they're purely on the defensive, gives you a lot of control there. And of course that layer also gives you access to the +2 tier of your upgrade. So +2 on the way for Armani. A little late to that +1 Carapace, but he did take some damage from the attack. He lost drones, he lost mining time, and he built 4 spine crawlers. 400 minerals plus 4 drones. That's a pretty penny, actually. So that's really what it boils down to. Sort of later roach speed is later +2 missile. Is that going to be a big deal? Or is he actually going to have enough to kill Armani? Right now, his armor supply is looking quite good, but he's actually getting +2 missile. So look, I was going to say maybe he's just going to go for an all-in right here, right now, again. With that +2 missile starting, I would say no. So it's great to be maxed out. He's going to easily defend any attempt from Armani to poke and prod and test. But he won't be looking better in the long run. He'll be down... Well, actually, he won't be down in upgrades. He has good upgrades right now. Kind of forgot that +1 carapace already happened. I'm not gonna lie. But he will be down in workers, and that's what I was about to say. He will be down in workers. He will be down in economy. 4th base is on the way for Armani. But sort of, I mean, he really does not have to fear about being attacked. His overlords are also covering the map so that nothing sneaks by. That will change soon with tunneling claws once again on the way for Armani. Armani is able to max out at a similar time. He's actually combating a Ling run by, or coincidentally found one. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, he's just he's combating it. Actually needs to bring those roaches back home though. Upgrades are even, and I guess they will be even actually. Like they're timing up pretty close, but Armani's gonna have a bit of a lead. I don't know about this. Actually, Sortof's gonna push into this. The aggressor, you know, it's really difficult to actually choose to attack into your opponent who also has a concave, who also has very similar composition, who also has upgrades. But Armani actually getting concaved upon so severely is dipping down in supply. Despite having that upgrade, Sortof actually chose the right time to attack and pierces through the middle of the army, forcing Armani to escape up that ramp back to his spine crawlers. It's kind of amazing how pros are able to determine that. But now that worked, that worked. Armani's now down to 4th base, but Sortof's 4th base is finishing. Although his work count's not as convincing, he's about to have more ideal mining anyways. Right side looking a bit better for Armani, but what about the left side? Spine Crawler's trying to help out, as Spine Crawlers with transfusion as well. Nope, no transfuse, but Queens can help eventually. Armani pulls all of his army back up to that high ground, letting the rest of the army on the low ground survive, at least temporarily. A couple of those Ravagers were looking weak, but Armani really needed to stall the bigger army out from getting up this ramp, because if they get past this choke, then he might have been in game-ending trouble. But holding the choke, letting these couple of Ravagers do their thing and actually escape, that was more important to hold the choke. So 3 bases, though, that's not ideal. 62 workers, not the best mining. He does sit on his 4th base again. They both are at similar supplies, but sort of investing into that +2 carapace, just like he did last game, actually. He's going to have the better upgrades eventually, but Armani kind of going for not exactly a Hail Mary. It's not the most desperate scenario for Armani, but it's definitely a risk. He's looking for a payoff in about 2 minutes here. He's got to put the Spire, he's got to put the Mutas. He's got to actually get enough Mutas to actually be helpful. That's a dangerous thing to do, but it might just be the exact right thing to do. Tunneling Claws also has been in effect for a while, so he finally gets to use it. Did sort of notice there's a graphical upgrade when they get Tunneling Claws. It can be very difficult to see, especially when you have skins available, which both of them did. And looks like Sortof did not really notice. Wait, what? Was there an overseer? Oh, there it was. Oh, boo, I'm blind. Okay, so that's what happened. So he didn't have an overseer on the very, very front lines, but he had one protecting kind of like the middle area. It worked out well enough. He splits up his army to try and chase down everything else, but this is what I was talking about in the last game too. Like, the amount to defend is greater than the amount to actually do the attack. It makes it very awkward. It makes it very scary to actually deal with, and was one of the more annoying problems about watching this phase of ZVZ about a year ago. ZVZ thankfully has actually adapted away from just pure Roach, more into like tricky spires, tricky upgrades, Ling-based type of stuff. Lurkers, obviously, one of the great end game goals. It's kind of funny we had 2 games back to back. Looking so typical Roach versus Roach, but it's about to be different. Armani did save up for quite a few mutas. I think he saved up for 15 mutas that sort of just did not know about. He's trying to attack with the +2 carapace timing, but it's not going to work out. The muta is going to add so much damage here, and Armani's still maxed out. He still has a lot on the ground to hold. It's not just about the mutas. And if the mutas are just free-firing on top of, yeah, Armani just pulls back whenever he can and takes the defensive fight in the choke. And oh my good god, the Crows, the Biles. Yikes. And the mutas will eventually clean everything up, and there's a tap out. GG! Armani. Continuing on. Thank you very much to Aligos for the 5 gifted subs while that was happening. Didn't want to